Oh, hi. Today we're going to be talking about
space!
Oh, I love you, Tim Curry. Tim Curry for president. He's going to bring us that luxury space communism we all hope for. Is this $10 thrift store blazer too bougie? Yeah, probably. There we go. Perfect. So today I'm going to be talking about the 2019 space race. Why? Because my first Tier 3 patron, the Hunter x Hunter 2011 Dick Riding Association, and yes, I probably had as much fun saying that as you did watching it, he forced me to make it. No, I'm kidding. He didn't force me. But it is a perk that you get if you become a Tier 3 patron, so you should do that. So in case you aren't familiar with all the recent developments in the 2019 space race, let me catch you up. So NASA wants to work cooperatively with space programs from around the world, like in India and China. And China has actually successfully landed a spacecraft on the far side of the moon. So NASA wants to get a space station to orbit the moon in order to facilitate travel to Mars. But we can't forget the billionaires that are invested in the space game. We have Elon Musk, the true socialist capitalist. We have Jeff Beelzebub, and we have Richard, not quite a virgin, Branson. Allegedly, NASA is trying to enlist the help of Elon Musk in his SpaceX company. I'm not so sure about the other two, though. But what my goal is going to be in this video is to give my quick analysis and to try to outline what I believe the good aspects are of the 2019 space race and what the bad ones are. And oh boy, are there bad ones. So first and foremost, the good things. Good thing number one, we may need to explore other planets for the sake of survival. We might need access to their resources, or we might need a backup planet in case of catastrophe on this one. However, I don't want to promote colonization. That could be problematic, especially where extraterrestrial life may be involved. So instead, let's replace good thing number one with good thing number two, and this is probably my favorite, is the Camus interpretation. So the Camus interpretation would be to be like Sisyphus, to create meaning in the face of meaninglessness, to explore our potentiality, to push that rock up the hill just to see if we can, only to watch it roll back down so that we can go back to see if we can push it right back up again. So the space race could give us the opportunity to explore what we're capable of through technology, to explore knowledge for the sake of knowledge, to find out what our place is in this universe. So that's all I have for good things, I guess? I suppose that it's good that NASA wants to cooperate with other space programs. I mean, cooperation is better than competition. It leads to less resource waste, more efficient production. But then again, it's still a space race. So SpaceX is said to be working with NASA, but Virgin Galactic, Branson's company, and Blue Origin, Bezos's company, along with other several small rocket companies, are still working independently. They've all stated that they plan to launch rockets into orbit more frequently. Both Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin plan to jump in on the burgeoning space tourism industry. For profit, I guess? And there's bound to be inherent competition, so you can see how this could get out of hand. Resource waste and environmental impact. So with all these rocket launches, there's a few environmental concerns. First is alumina particles. Second is black carbon or soot. And third is space debris. So the space debris problem is kind of obvious. There's a bunch of hunks of metal floating around in orbit from old satellites and rockets that have been launched. So the less obvious problem is the alumina particles and the black carbon emitted from the ignition of rocket fuel. If you want the exact science, I'll link the paper down below. So according to the paper, there are a variety of chemical reactions that result from the accumulation of alumina particles and black carbon in the stratosphere. Unfortunately, those chemical reactions lead to the depletion of the ozone layer, and I'm pretty sure, or at least I hope, that most of you know what the ozone layer is good for. So where was I at again? We have several competing industries. We have frivolous, redundant overproduction. We have materials manufactured by industries that produce several tons of carbon emissions. We have rockets that damage the ozone layer, all for the sake of what? I guess profit? Well, maybe not in the case of NASA and SpaceX, right? I mean, what could they possibly gain by taking humanity to Mars? I mean, they're doing it for humanity, right? Right?
One small step for man, one giant leap for fucking rich people.
Welcome to the radical segment of this video. If you are allergic to truth, I suggest you tune out. For the rest of you, oh hell. Tim Curry, can you help me out with what the issue is concerning the space race?
Corrupted by capitalism.
So if you happen to be middle or lower class, do you think that this venture to Mars is going to be for you? Obviously, the first people that will be sent will be specialists and trained astronauts. But once they have a colony established, once they have everything necessary for human habitation, who do you think will be going? If the socio-economic system at the time of colonization is still capitalism, then obviously space travel is going to be an expensive undertaking. Human beings require a large amount of resources to survive. Imagine all the resources necessary to travel all the way to Mars. But if you think cost of travel is going to be the only filtration process responsible for deciding who's going to Mars and who isn't, then you're fooling yourself. There's going to be all sorts of implicit and explicit biases, as well as some material incentives. Are the poor going to be able to afford to buy their way in? Are they going to be able to afford to bribe officials at NASA? Hell, are they even going to be deemed worthy enough to represent humanity in space? I doubt it. Traveling to Mars will be by and for the capitalist class. It's not going to be for the working class. It's not going to be for the poor. They're going to leave us behind on this rotting planet. One that is rotting due to their profit incentive, due to the oil industry, due to the coal industry, due to the manufacturing industry, due to the energy sector, and so on and so on. So on a deeper level, what do I think about the space race? Well, I think we need to get our priorities straight. First, we need to be concerned about the habitability of our own planet. Second, I think we need to be concerned about our socio-economic system and how it affects the habitability of our own planet, as well as the organization of our species. With that said, I have a few closing remarks. Come, sit down with me. Instead of asking you to like or subscribe, I'd like to ask you something more important. I'd like to ask you to join your local DSA or your local IWW. It's extremely important that we organize and that we protest. It's important that we seize the means of production to democratize industry. Also, considering the environmental issues that we face today, it's important that you try to support the Extinction Rebellion in any way you possibly can. It is really up to all of us together to make a difference in this world that we live in. Thank you all so very much for watching. What's going to happen next is that I'm going to turn off these lights. You're going to see my patrons and maybe a few other lovely surprises. And then I'm going to force you to listen to me mess around with this theremin. Enjoy.